Here we have two simple raised beds, and they're made out of composite. Raised beds generally rot really quick if they're made out of wood, and you can't make them out of pressure treated wood because it'll leach harmful chemicals into your plant. In this video, I'm gonna show you everything you need and what to do on how to build these. So to start, these are the tools I'm using. A chop saw, a drill bit, and a countersink for your screws, and then a T25 to screw the screws in. For this build, you're gonna wanna use some sort of stainless steel fastener, so that way they don't rust in the soil. This will ensure that these raised beds last forever. So I'm gonna go pick out the material with my wagon here, and then we'll get into the cut list. Here I've pulled out what I need for both the 2x4 planter and the 4x4 planter. There we go. This is including the braces and the little pieces, the corners, and then the walls. The 2x4 planter takes 16 linear feet, and the 4x4 planter takes 42 linear feet. So something that makes it easy and efficient to build these is setting up stops. So I have this side of my chop saw set up to 4 foot, and then I have this side set to 2 foot. And then this line right here is the 4.5 inch blocks you need that support the wall. Now, next I'm gonna actually cut these in half this way so I can get 4 of them. It's kind of a sketchy cut, but if you're careful, you can do it. Take some other piece of wood so you don't get your hand too close. And what's important is that it's butt up against the wall back there, and then you hold it down. And then you just go slow. These 4.5 inch blocks are crucial because they're only gonna go this high when they support the raised bed, and this will allow you to put the reinforcement corner a little over flush with the top, and that looks kind of clean, and it makes the corner really, really strong. When you're putting these together, you always have to countersink your screws because the composite will split and crack for sure. And these blocks make it so you can actually, they actually go like this. So you can put your screws farther back in on this face, and then you don't have to put it on the edge of the board on this face going this way. It'll go into this block instead. Okay, so for the 2x4, you're gonna need 2 4-foot pieces, 3 2-foot pieces, 4 4.5 inch tall corner blocks, and 4 corner triangles. For the 4x4, you're gonna need 9 4-foot walls, 10 1/8 inch tall corner blocks, 4 of those, 4 corner triangles, and 4 wall flushers. These are the blocks right here that keep the boards lined up in the middle. And then you're gonna need a bunch of stainless steel screws. I ended up going with the fat head instead of the skinny head because it'll have more holding power. Even though it doesn't look as good, what's more important to me is durability and that it lasts a long time. But it's really important that you use stainless steel. So getting it started is kind of just the tricky part. I like to use some of these clamps here to make it easier. You can get a corner brace holder thing, but I don't think you need it. When you're putting in these corner blocks, you want to make sure that the finished side is actually against the unfinished side, because the finished side blows out less and it won't create space between the board. Whereas if you put the unfinished side to unfinished side, it's highly likely to pull material in between the boards when you screw them together. The first thing we're going to want to do is kind of line them up like this, and then put your block, remember, finished side, and then also finished edge against the other side here. So just like that, you know, it gives you more or less a square place to put everything. Put that board down, get your clamp, clamp them together. And that's pretty good. So after that, you're going to want to drill from this way, and they will poke out a little bit on the other end, but it's not too big of a deal. Now, you could get a countersink bit. They work great, but I break them a lot, so I like to use a drill bit and a countersink separately. Now, don't over tighten these because they will strip out. And then, doing this other side, like so. Here I use 3 screws. One to lock in the end first, and then 2 in the main body so it's actually strong. If you just keep screws right in the end here, it'll probably split out. But I like to put 1 there to keep it perfectly lined up. Alright, and now we'll do the last 2 corners. Now, be conscious of where you put these screws so you don't drill into them. You don't want to do that. So I kind of put them farther away from the edge. So here I'll go kind of closer to the bottom, hopefully I don't hit it. Perfect. Then closer to the top here. Oh. So that's funny, I accidentally went into the edge here. No big deal. We're just gonna redo the screws right here. So this corner will be ultra strong. However, when I don't make mistakes like that, which is kind of embarrassing, you'll actually have the screws here because you want them in the support block. All right, that's 1 corner done. I'm gonna switch to time-lapse mode and get the bottom done. And then when I get to doing the top row, I'll show you the trick I found that helps you line it up perfectly. All right, so I have the first layer assembled. And if you noticed, I have the corners here. They twist 90 degrees on every wall. I think it might be stronger that way, not quite sure. This is what a correct corner looks like. 3 holes on this side, 2 holes on this side, you know, because you really only need 2 into the block from each side. But this one is to keep it lined up here nice and flush. All right, so I'm gonna show you the trick now to getting the second layer nice and flush, because we actually want to cross over the board this way this time and have the other board here. I'll show you what I mean. This is gonna make it stronger. What's important at this step is to make sure all of your ends line up first. So we're gonna actually do this 1 outside edge screw into all of it first, and then clamp it and screw it into each of these corner braces. And that's because the composite board isn't perfect, so you really want to make sure it's nice and flush on the end. Now, if you see here, what I was talking about is we're going to actually have the raised bed do this, where the top wall overlaps the side wall, of the bottom layer, and that just makes the corners stronger. So what I'm going to do here first, just to make it easy, put a clamp here so my board doesn't fall. Get another board, make sure it's flush, and screw it in. Then after that, I'm going to move on to the next one. Then I'll come back and clamp it to my corner blocks and finish the assembly here. But this part is key. Now, not only did it keep it flush here, but also pulled the board kind of flat. And now I'm just going to move on to the four corners and then come back and screw into my corner blocks. And as you can see, this corner piece will sit right about there, and this will make sure the box stays square and the corners stay strong, because that's what's most important. All right, there it is in its glory. Strong, sturdy, rot-proof, screws won't corrode, composite deck 2x4 raised bed. Now I have two 2x4s and two 4x4s, and we're gonna wheel these out to the field over there and take some good photos.